Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and staying safe during this time. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Like I said, thank you so much for checking me out. If you haven't done so, please make sure to hit that subscribe button just right below the video. Cool, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And if you're returning, welcome back. Thanks again for your support. I truly do appreciate having you here.
The SEC wrote a letter to the judge requesting yet another extension in their case against Ripple. And Ripple promptly provided their response as well. The SEC's won on this front most, if not every single time that it's requested an extension. I can't remember if there's one where they didn't get what they asked for. And I don't know if it's just out of an abundance of caution. Maybe the judge really just think that it's perfectly reasonable. Okay, fine. But you gotta wonder, does it have anything to do with them having one less thing to claim? Should they lose the case, one less thing that they could claim to try and appeal the final outcome via whatever comes from summary judgment? Is that part of it? I don't know, but it does seem to me also that the SEC's tactic in general is just delay, and they don't care how it impacts anybody else. And you would think part of it would be to make sure that you have the stress level of your defendants, the defendants in any case, extra high for a prolonged period of time, hoping that there's going to be some sort of mishap along the way. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's part of the incentive. And of course, it's just that much more expensive dragging all this stuff out. So attorney Jeremy Hogan had something to say about this, and he actually points out that despite all this, the end game, it's actually in sight. And then there was a separate issue, but has to do with the SEC. Here's the headline from Cointelegraph, and this won't surprise you. It's the theme with the SEC again. Delay. Here's the headline. SEC pushes decisions on Wisdom Tree's and One River's applications for spot Bitcoin ETFs. Well, color me surprised. This is what they do. They just kick the can down the road farther and further, and then there's a gap. So if the requests are ultimately not approved, then my understanding is that there's some sort of gap before they can apply again. So the longer they kick the can down the road with this existing request, then they can stretch out when the next application can be filed. So it's just delay. That's the SEC, folks. But before going any further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Here's a headline from Finance Feeds covering this story. Breaking. Ripple wants to end XRP lawsuit with summary judgment by mid-May. Well, wouldn't that be nice? Just another couple months or so from now, we'd have this all wrapped up in a little bow. Yeah, not so fast because the SEC exists. Check this out, though. The Securities and Exchange Commission has submitted a request for an extension until no later than 1 week after the individual defendants filed their answers in order to inform the court of whether the plaintiff intends on conducting additional discovery. This request aims to extend the March 23rd, 2022 deadline for the parties to propose a discovery schedule for the individual defendants. The individual defendants oppose the extension and will file a written objection today. And so just pause to note, they actually did, like I said just a minute earlier, so I'm going to pull that up as well. And you should see the tone from the attorney with the individual defendants. Nothing but professional, which is what you've come to expect. But he's laying it down. Like what the SEC is doing, it's just dragging this out. It's completely unfair to Ripple, and he ends up making the case. So I'll show you the specifics. So there are a couple sentences in particular. I was like, yup. I'm glad that he's calling it out just like it is. But anyway, piece continues. Here's a quote from the SEC document that was just filed. Although the SEC does not anticipate any additional liability-related discovery, the SEC is unable to commit to a position until after it has had an opportunity to review the individual defendants' answers, including any affirmative defenses they may assert and facts they plead in support. Yeah, so look, as far as the affirmative defenses, all that was mapped out over a year ago. And the response, and again, I'll pull up in just a second here, the defendants made it pretty clear, literally, there will not be any additional affirmative defenses. So you could have gotten that through conversation, SEC attorneys. Like you could, in fact, you probably did get that through conversation. But still, you go forward with a delay tactic. Pretty ridiculous. And so shout out to attorney James Filan, member of the XRP community, for sharing this. And he wrote the following: the SEC has filed yet another request for an extension of time, asking the court to extend the March 23rd, 2022 deadline for the parties to propose a discovery schedule for the individual defendants until 1 week after the individual defendants file their answers to the SEC's complaint. The individual defendants object and will file a written objection today. Now, on that, Jeremy Hogan had the following to say, and he actually retweeted what I just shared with you from attorney James Filan, and attorney Jeremy Hogan wrote the following, which is interesting, definitely attention grab. And he said, the SEC is requesting an extension, of course, but look at footnote number 2. Ripple is suggesting that initial summary judgment briefs be filed by May. The SEC is, of course, saying that's too soon, but the endgame is in sight. So look here, folks. Ripple's really trying to get this thing moving as quickly as possible, which I would love. I know everybody listening would love that. I just want things to get back to normal. And plus, I'm super curious to see how price action of XRP actually will be impacted by this. I'm assuming there's going to be some sort of move regardless of what happens here. And maybe it's even, I don't know, maybe it's even short-lived, but my real guess was that even though, I would anticipate, I'm just guessing here, that we'd have some relatively big move up in price. I would anticipate that. I think there's going to be a retrace, but I'm hoping after you see that retrace back to the downside, that will still be at some sort of higher normal level of price range for XRP, because I think arguably right now, probably most of us would agree on this, arguably the price of XRP today is suppressed as a result of the SEC suing Ripple, claiming that XRP is an unregistered security of Ripple. So anyway, here's footnote number 2, which Jeremy Hogan shared a screen grab of. This is what he's talking about. Here you can see it. Reads as follows. Defendants also proposed a summary judgment schedule with opening briefs and related filings due in mid-May. Now here was, here's Ripple's response, and here's how attorney James Filan summed this up. He wrote, the individual defendants have filed their objection. The SEC has delayed resolution of this case long enough. Nothing should further delay Ripple from moving for summary judgment and demonstrating to the court that XRP is not a security. The court should deny the SEC's motion for yet another extension of time. So that part, that definitely caught my attention, as well as part in the third paragraph here. They wrote, here we go. Nothing should further delay Ripple from moving for summary judgment and demonstrating to the court that XRP is not a security. One other thing worth mentioning as well, Daubert briefs were cited here, and I found out recently what a Daubert motion is. And I've talked about it a couple times on this channel, but I first came across it because attorney John Deaton was talking about it, and it was described as the following by attorney James Filan on Twitter. He wrote, A Daubert motion essentially challenges the qualifications of the experts and the reliability and admissibility of the expert opinion or testimony. Judge Torres released an opinion on a Daubert issue last week, and her explanation of the legal standard is below. Now, I'm not going to run through it. It's from a separate case, not specifically having to do with Ripple. But this is, of course, highly relevant. There's a reason that this was cited by Ripple's attorney. I think it was Michael Kellogg. Is that who wrote this? I think it was. Attorney Michael Kellogg. Oh, and okay, so it wasn't just Solomon was on this, and Martin Flumenbaum, and also Andrew Strasny saw 4 of them. Those 4 were signed in anyway. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. The reason that I wanted to bring this up is because, and this is the most ridiculous thing, there's a Dr. Metz who was hired by the SEC, got paid $600 an hour to create a 100-plus page report. He claims it proves that the price of XRP results from Ripple news announcements, which is completely absurd. And then Ripple has a couple of their own experts that have said no, there's flawed methodology here, and so that's part of what's at stake, or it's one of the bigger ones for the Ripple case. As far as the Daubert motions go, it's, should this even be admissible in court? Now that I'll be curious to see what the judge decides on that front. But I can only say that having been in the space for over 4 years now and holding XRP since November 17th, 2017, that's the first day I ever purchased it, and I've never sold a single XRP. I've been following this. I've seen every single breaking news piece come from Ripple, and it doesn't move the freaking price. It's provably the case. Then you pull up the XRP chart, look compared to a Bitcoin chart. It moves in tandem, folks. Bitcoin is what controls this. So anyway, it is what it is, but when they're talking about Daubert, that's something that's going to matter in this case, the Daubert motion. All right, and then there was this. I got a kick out of this. This is from the satire account XRP The Standard Productions, which is basically like The Onion, but specifically for the XRP community. And XRP The Standard Productions wrote the following: "Good Lord, they aren't even trying to hide it anymore." And this is, of course, it's satire, so this is not real, but here's a fake tweet from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Twitter account, which reads as follows: "Hey, Judge, we forgot what the latest thingy is in the Ripple case, but can we have an extension? Thanks. And whatever the next thingy is too, extension, please. Thanks." I was like, yeah, that's about right. Whatever it is, just extension, please. That's exactly what their approach is. Delay, delay, delay. Speaking of delay tactics, now here's the headline from Cointelegraph. SEC pushes decisions on wisdom trees and One River's applications for spot Bitcoin ETFs. And I tell you what, many of you may already be aware that the SEC did approve a Bitcoin futures ETF, which is, so that's not backed by actual physical Bitcoin, if you will. And it's just completely absurd that they'd approve that, but then they're not going to approve a spot exchange, which would be backed specifically by Bitcoin, and then the fund itself would be traded on exchanges like it could be NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, whatever. Why would they have a profit? Well, they publicly cited it's stupid arguments along the lines of, well, there's manipulation within the market, this or that, is everything being properly reported? But it's ridiculous because in terms of the price action of the futures ETF, it's going to result, whatever happens with that, it's going to result from specifically what's happening with real Bitcoin in crypto markets the world over. So what the hell does it matter if it's a spot ETF or if it's a futures ETF? If you approved one, you should approve both. But here we have them not wanting to address this issue. So anyway, piece reads as follows. The United States Securities and Exchange Commission has extended its window to approve or disapprove spot Bitcoin exchange-traded fund applications from asset managers Wisdom Tree and One River. By the way, One River, that's the fund that former SEC chair Jay Clayton, that asshat, he's with One River. He joined them after denying, mind you, every request for a Bitcoin ETF for the number of years that he was controlling, running the SEC while he was in charge there, denied all of them. Then, as soon as he leaves, he joins One River and he's pushing for a Bitcoin ETF. Wouldn't he have a loving hell, folks?
I'm your guy. I will keep you posted. I'm your advocate. I'll be back on a daily basis, usually multiple times per day, with these videos to keep you updated with everything going on. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't done so, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Feel free to share any of my videos with your friends, family, social media, or anybody who may care to listen. Thanks so much for your continued support. I'm always here for you. I want to help you through this time. So thank you so much for continuing to choose me. Enjoy your day, stay safe, and I'll catch you again probably in a couple hours. Thanks, everybody. See you later.